perform any action on an element, first we have to make Selenium to find out that element. Find element recognizes the element based on the given properties. What are the different properties we can use to identify the elements? ID, name, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, XPath and CSS selector. Okay. What are the mostly preferred properties to identify the element here? ID and name. Okay. Only one element matching the given properties, that element will be recognized. What is the return type of the find element?
Web element.
Web element. We are making Selenium to identify a text box. We are making Selenium to identify an image or a link or a button. The whole element we are keeping in the Java memory. The return type is a web element, not the name of the element, not the height of the element. So return type is the whole web element. Web element is a Selenium reference type. WebDriver is a class in Selenium that contains all common browser relevant operations. Web element, another class in Selenium that contains the method, belongs to all common operations carried out on any web element. Together, web element is a Selenium reference type which can be used to store the whole element into the Java memory. Then you can perform some operations. Okay. Say there are multiple elements matching the given properties, then what happens? I use find element. There are multiple elements matching the same properties. Yes. I'm giving ID or name or something else in the web page. There are multiple elements matching the same properties. Now what happens? Selenium start locating the element from the beginning of the HTML page, from the beginning of the web page. The first element matching the given properties will be returned. If any element is recognized, it will not go further if I use find element. If I use find element from the beginning of the HTML page till end of the page, it will gather all elements matching the given properties. If no, nothing will be stored in the array list. 0. Number of elements are 0. More elements are matching, all elements will be loaded. So multiple elements will be loaded into the array list. Find element identifies the very first web element matching the given properties. Return type is a single web element. Find elements returns multiple elements matching the given properties. The return type is a list of web elements. In order to find out the element or element, Selenium provided some properties called locators. Generally properties, as per Selenium terminology, we can call them as locators used to identify the element. ID one locator, name other locator, class name, tag name, link text, partial link text, XPath and CSS selector. These are the 8 locators available in Selenium to recognize the elements present in a web page. Now today let us see how to make use of all these locators in order to make Selenium to find the element or elements to carry out some automation scripts. I'm running this code. This will invoke the Chrome driver, delete the cookies, maximize the Chrome browser window, then opens Facebook application. Right. Now I want to build the code to log in into Facebook application. We have the code up to invoking the Facebook application. I want to create a script for Facebook login. What to do? I want to enter some data into this username, email address, text box element. If you want to make Selenium to interact with any element, first we need to make Selenium to find out the element based on its properties. Which property you want me to use?
ID.
Mail ID.
My requirement, I want to make Selenium to identify this element. Question,
Input, sir.
what do you want me to use? Selenium needs some properties to recognize any web element. My question, you want me to use ID, you want me to use name, you want me to use some other properties to recognize this element? Answer this question.
Alphanumeric.
If ID is available,
Xbox
then
ID, sir.
First, we need to inspect the properties of the element. Without knowing or inspecting the properties, how we can decide? We go with ID or name. Do you know the properties of this element by seeing here? We need to inspect the properties of this element. The HTML window dog the window to left, right, or bottom. No, for maximize to get the maximum of the screen area, I dog down to bottom. Here we have arrow icon. Select an item in the page to inspect the properties of it. Highlight it. These are the HTML properties of that element. Input is HTML tag name. Can I use the tag name property to recognize this element? Driver dot find element by the tag name input can identify this element or not?
no, sir,
No, why?
because there may be multiple fields with the same tag name.
Perfect. Understand? Understand what she said? Repeat loudly.
If we use input as a tag name, then there may be multiple fields available on the same page with the same input tag name. So, and if
Continue.
and as we are inspecting only one element over here, so in that term we are going to use web element. Find element. So in that term, we should not use tag name.
Very good. At least understand now? Understand what she said?
Yes, sir.
Right. In this web page, that is HTML page, there may be multiple input elements, correct? There may be multiple input element, multiple text boxes. Find element by tag name input I am using. So what happens? Find element recognizes the first web element matching the given property. There may be multiple input elements. I do not want to recognize the first input element. I want to recognize username element. That is my requirement. So here tag name is not suggested because there may be multiple input element. Find element identifies the first web element matching the given properties. There may be multiple input elements in a web page, so it is not suggested. Really, your requirement is I want to capture all input elements in the page, then I go for tag name. Then, what else we can use? Tag name one property, input, type one property, class name one property, name one property, ID one property, placeholder one property. There are multiple properties here. What is the best property to recognize any element uniquely?
ID.
Phone number.
IDs.
We have ID property here.
ID.
Yesterday I said, car will have different properties, person will have different properties. The best property to recognize a person Aadhaar ID, the best property to recognize a motor vehicle is registration ID. Here better to go with ID. When you double click here, the value will be selected. As Selenium or Java is case sensitive, I always suggest copy and paste the values. The ID value I am copying, driver meaning now the Selenium WebDriver focus available in the Facebook window. In the Facebook window, there are multiple elements available in the Facebook window. Find an element by its ID. I already copied the ID value. Find the element based on its ID email. Identify the element in the Facebook window whose ID property is email. After finding the element, what is the action you want to do? You want to click it?
No.
Click.
You want to click on text box?
Input.
I want to enter some data in a text box element.
And
Send keyboard keys.
key.
Send keyboard keys on the identified web element. The data you want to send. I'm giving something. While runtime, Selenium start locating the element from the beginning of the web page. The first element whose ID property is email will be recognized and the data will be entered. The username value was entered. Similarly, I want to enter the password here. Without knowing the properties of the element, I cannot decide which is the best property to identify it. First, you inspect the properties of this element. How to inspect the properties of an element? Rightly inspect. These are the properties of the password element. Or here we have arrow icon, click it, highlight the element for which you want to see the properties. These are the properties of that password element. Tag name, no. If I use tag name here, what happened? First input element will be recognized, maybe username or something else. Type property available, password. Class property available. Name property available. ID available. Placeholder available. Area hyphen label available. Sir, any property we can use if you feel it is unique property to recognize. ID available. Name available. You can go with either ID or name. Previous I use ID, this time let me use name. But truly speaking, when I am writing the code in my project, I go with ID only. If ID is not available, then only I look into other properties. As it is a learning how to use different locators to teach it, I am using this time name property of the element. When you double click here, the value will be selected, copied, because Selenium or Java is case sensitive. When you are typing, if you give P in uppercase, it will throw an exception, no such element exception. Tell me the code. In the current window, Facebook window, identify an element whose name property is this, enter some data. Now I want to click this login button. I am spying the properties of the login button element. These are the properties of the element. It's a button. What is the tag name? Button. If I use tag name button, there may be multiple buttons. First button will be recognized. That is not my requirement. I do not want to recognize first button. I want to recognize login button only. Name property available. ID property available. Type property available. any property of the element we can use. Here is what is the best property? Either ID or name. As ID or name available, mostly they are the 99% they are the unique properties. Better you go for either ID or name. I've taken the name property. I'll take ID property, I'll run the script. I'm taking ID property. Is your code is clicking login?
No.
Is our code is clicking login? Agreed, I given a wrong username, wrong password, but still, if login button is clicked, it will show error message invalid username or password. First of all, your code is not clicking login. Your Selenium not able to identify the login element. See the output of the script. When you get this exception, no such element exception. When you get no such element exception,
Then element is not found.
Selenium not able to recognize the element during runtime based on the given property. The Selenium not able to identify the element based on the given property, so throwing an exception, I cannot recognize no such element. No element matching the given description, given properties. Why? I given perfectly, even I copied and pasted. If I type, there is a chance I may do a mistake. I'm showing you the properties of this login button now. What is the ID property? This one, right? I'm copying this again. During runtime, this is the ID property, I copied it. For your understanding, I pasted here. What is your observation?
Changing, sir.
ID.
ID property dynamically changing in
Not
Facebook.
unique.
Okay.
Previously, this is the ID property. During runtime, there is some other ID property. This is the ID property available in the application during runtime. But this is the ID property you specified in the script. Selenium not able to identify any element matching with this ID because ID property value dynamically changing, throwing exception, no such element exception. For security reason, in Facebook application, ID values are dynamically changing. We'll talk about, but you observe here, the starting value is constant. We'll open one more time. Either manually or via script, whatever it may be. I'm running another time. 1 moment before I run, I'll copy this value. I'm running again. You see the ID property now again. You'll get one more value. This is the current value now. Every time the ID property value is dynamically changing. Very first time this is the value. Always the beginning value, starting value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing. I said there are some XPath functions, we'll discuss about it. Starts with, contains. If you want to identify element whose starting value is constant, remaining value is dynamically changing, there is a function available in the XPath called starts with. We'll discuss about it. Separately, I'll discuss about the XPath. First, we'll start writing one or two programs to understand how to use the locators. See here, as the ID value dynamically changing, alternatively, I can go with name property, login. This time I go with login. Once we learn about XPath usage, we'll develop this code again. How to handle the elements whose property values are dynamically varying. So I do not want to go with ID, I want to go with name. What is the name value? Login, dot click. I clicked on login element. I given some wrong username or wrong password. It's loading. As I given I think demo username available. Somebody else created a username called demo. I don't know, password is wrong. Okay. Finally here, just we learned how to make Selenium to identify the element based on some properties here. You understand this one? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tell me your username and password. I'll show you. Okay, not required. After running the script, if you are practicing, remove the data. If somebody else click run button, automatically Facebook will log in. Okay? Listen, first we learn the features. Later we implement test cases. Actually, it is not a complete test case. We have step one, open the browser, enter valid URL, click go. In manual testing, correct? In manual testing, we execute the step manually. Here I build some code code to make Selenium to my execute the step one, open the browser, enter valid URL, click go. Second step, enter valid username, valid password, and click login. Are you testing anything here? Only enter username, enter password, click login. If this page is displayed, report test pass, else report test failed. We have to learn more features to implement the complete test cases. Just we are at beginning stage. Right. I'm invoking other application here. The HRM application. Again, I want to prepare login script. First, we need to spy the properties of this element. ID available, name available, I go with the ID. Generally, if the ID contains some numbers, sometimes the ID property may dynamically change. In that scenario, either you have to use XPath, otherwise leave ID. If there is a name, go with name. Drive it out, find the element, by its ID, and send keys, enter the username value, say admin. There's ID available, name available. I can also go with name. Revert out, find the element by its name, then enter some data. Password value. Name available, ID available, type available, class name also available. This time I go with class name. Button. Actually, I go with ID or name just for your learning purpose. How to use different locators. I'm using this time class property button. Divide out, find the element by the class name of the element. Button, click it. Let us run the code till this point. Step 1, open the browser, enter valid URL, click go, done. Step 2, login as admin. Now, I want to log out. First, we have to click the link, welcome Suresh. When I click welcome Suresh, clearly observe, it is taking some little time to populate the values. Here I have logout link. First, we have to click on welcome Suresh link, then we have to click on logout link. Tell me the code. Driver dot, find the element by
ID name. Link text, sir.
I clearly said it is a link. What are the best locators used to identify the links in a page? Out of 8, there are 2 locators. Link text, also partial link text. What is that partial link text? Partial generally meaning some part of the link text. See, if always text visible on the link is constant. Yesterday in Google application we made like this. There is a Gmail link, the Google page. They say images link. Always these links texts are constant, right? Dynamically changing. Always link name is Gmail only. Always link text is images only. The link text is not changing. Once you log into your Gmail account, you get inbox 100.
Welcome.
What is the link text here? Link text here, inbox 100 currently. Maybe when you receive one more mail, what happened? Inbox 101. One more mail, 102. Meaning, this value dynamically changing. In my code, if I give like this, driver dot find element by the link text inbox of 100 and click it. If really the value is inbox of 100, it will click it. You received another email, value is inbox 101. What is the value in the code? Identify a link whose link text is
100.
inbox of 100. But in the application, it is inbox of 101. We'll throw an exception, no such element exception. Because the link text is dynamically changing. What we can do now? Identify a link whose a partial link text is inbox. Partial generally meaning some part. If some part of the link text is inbox, in the entire link text, somewhere inbox is available. Identify and click it. In this context, we can go for partial link text. Now here, this time welcome Suresh. Admin employee name is Suresh. It is showing welcome Suresh. Another person login, Richard's login, it will show welcome Richards. John login, it will show welcome John. Ramesh login, it will show welcome Ramesh. Here welcome is always constant. The username value dynamically changing based on the login. So I do not suggest to go with link text, better to go with partial
link text.
the partial link text value. Welcome. Find the element by its partial link text welcome and click it. I made a mistake in this statement. I made one mistake in this statement. Tell me what is the mistake?
You capital.
W is capital.
It's case sensitive. When I run this code, it will throw an exception, no such element exception. Then, first I'll run the code till this point. Now I want to click this logout. Logout, L in uppercase, all remaining characters in lowercase. Code is divide out, find the element by partial link text or link text.
Link text, sir.
Always text visible on the link is constant. Logout. Sorry. By link text logout and click it. Is it clicking on logout?
No, sir.
We made the code up to logout.
There is no way.
Not clicking logout. When you run a program, while runtime, what happened? The log will be recorded in the console. What is happening while execution? That is this area, console area. Output window.
Selenium script find the current page only. Logout.
No. Do you have multiple windows here? Is it opening any new tab or a new window? I
No, but
agree.
why-
No. If really it is opening a new window, I agree with you. In the RNHRM application, it is not opening a new window. It's going to next page, I agree, but not opening a new window. If that is the case, first of all, you should not click on welcome also, right?
Yes, sir. But after clicking welcome Suresh, there is a one pop-up window is open.
Okay. After clicking welcome Suresh, it's not actually, we should not call it as a pop-up.
Yes.
Pop-up
But
meaning what?
I don't have any word.
A
for that,
submenu.
that's
A
it.
submenu is coming. Okay. No. Why I said handling pop-ups are different in Selenium. This is actually pop-up.
Yes, but I could not find the word for that.
Right.
particular-
I'll tell you. No, not only you, many people will have this question. I'll tell you. This is called pop-up. Where is? Oh, it's logging in without entering any data. This is called pop-up array alert. Okay? Handling this
Right,
alert
right.
is a separate topic in Selenium. We'll discuss about it. See, in the same window the page is loading, it's not opening a new window. It's called generally a menu, a submenu or menus. Okay. After you click welcome Suresh, we are getting a menu with a list of links. Up to this point, your Selenium is running successfully. We have given the properties correctly. Log out. Check is there any spelling mistake in our code. No, perfectly given. But still it is not able to recognize the element. Guess the reason.
Sir,
After
There is
welcome Suresh, it is
15 times, sir.
when we click on the welcome Suresh, after that it is within the second it is checking the logout element, but we have to wait for few minutes to find
Perfect.
that element.
Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Right. After clicking welcome Suresh, maybe it's taking a little, maybe a second or a half second to show the value. Selenium is not waiting. By default, Selenium will wait for 0 seconds to identify the element. While runtime, Selenium will not wait to find out the element. Selenium is finding, it will not even wait for a second. But application taking some little amount of time to populate the values. Immediately Selenium throwing an exception because it is taking some time. Selenium finding, not able to find out, throwing an exception, no such element exception. It is what happening here. What to do?
We
What
need
is the
to
solution you say?
The wait time, sir.
wait for time.
Right.
Sleep.
Sleep, who?
Thread.
In Java, there is a class called thread to interrupt the program execution, to stop the program execution for a specified amount of time. There is a class in Java called thread. Thread class provides a static method. Static method. How you access a static method? Class name dot. How you access a static method of a class?
Class name dot method name.
Class name dot method name. Sleep. The timeout in milliseconds. And timeout in milliseconds. Millisecond. 2000 milliseconds, that is 2 seconds. Here I am asking Selenium, sleep for 2 seconds, wait for 2 seconds, hoping in between the submenu will be loaded. Then after 2 seconds, in between the submenu will be loaded, find out the element and click it. How much time you made Selenium to wait here?
2
2
seconds.
milliseconds. Second. After 2 seconds, click log out. Okay. Supposing your application taking more than 2 seconds to populate the values, what happened? Your Selenium will wait up to only 2 seconds. Still Selenium not able to see the element. Again you get the exception, no such element exception. Correct? So what we can do? You want me to put 10 seconds, 40 seconds, 100 seconds? If I put 100 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whether the element is visible or not visible, blindly your Selenium will sleep for 10 seconds. Thread.sleep is not a recommended one. Temporarily I am using thread.sleep. We have to discuss a topic called implicitly wait. We can make Selenium to implicitly wait for specified amount of time before throwing no such element exception. Further we'll discuss about this. One by one we'll go. Okay? As of now, I am using thread.sleep. At driver level, you can configure while executing this test case. If there is any issue in finding an element because of some delay in the application, immediately do not throw an exception, no such element exception. Implicitly wait up to 20 seconds. Implicitly. What do you mean by generally implicitly? Default timeout. Implicitly wait up to 20 seconds. Still not able to find the element, then they'll throw the exception. Default timeout in Selenium is 0 seconds. You can configure the time, how much time you want Selenium to wait for identifying the element if there is a issue in identifying the element using implicitly wait condition. We'll discuss about it. First we focus on locators now. Okay. Here I am trying to explain you how to use the locators. Right. And finally, I want to close the browser window. We have up to, when we click logout, it comes back to login page. I want to close the browser window. What is the code? Driver.close. Let me run this code. Wait for 2 seconds, then find the element, close the window, done. In this program, we use ID property, name property, class name, partial link text, and link text. Again, we have focused on how to use locators in the second program also. Hope you understood this code? The online team understood this code?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now I have the code up to login this time. Now my requirement, I want to go to employee registration page. How to navigate to employee registration page from here? From here, click on PIM, then click on add employee. Both are, yes sir, both are links only, right? PIM is a link,
Partial
add employee another link.
partial links.
Why partial link? Is the link test is dynamically changing here? Always it is PIM only. Always it is add employee only. When to go for partial link test? Dynamically, the text property value is changing, then only we have to go for partial link test. I'll give another example where we use partial link test. Find an element by its link text, PIM, and click it. What is the mistake I made in the code?
PIM.
Yeah,
Caps.
PIM.
If I run this code, I get the exception, no such element exception. After clicking PIM, I want to click on add employee. Add employee, there's a white space in between. You know, white space also one character. Drive it out, find the element, by its link text, add employee, and click it. Now, we have the code till this point now. I want to enter some first name, last name, and click save button. We have to spy the properties of the first name element. This ID available. Divide out, find element by its ID, send keys. I'm giving some first name value. Your name. I can go with either ID or name. Let me go with the name. Driver dot, find the element by the name, send keys, your last name demo, okay? And I want to click this save button. There's ID property available. There's a value property available. I want to go with the ID. Divide out, find element by its ID, mostly used properties while building the code, ID or name. If really you don't have an ID or name, then only we look into other properties. That is using XPath. I want to click here. Let us run the code till this point. Done. Now it created it, went up to click save button. Step 1, open the browser, enter valid URL, click go. Step 2, login as admin. Step 3, go to add employee page. Step 4, enter all mandatory fields, first name, last name, and click save button. These are the 5 steps we have automated now. In manual testing, we execute the steps every time, correct? In automation testing, who will execute this test case? When you click run button, Selenium is executing these 5 steps automatically. Manual testing, we execute the test steps manually. We are making Selenium to execute our test step to test a functionality in the project. Done. It's created one more Suri, that's it. In this application, you can create employees with the same name. For that reason, it is accepting. 5 steps we have automated. Actually, what we are trying to do with automation testing, what we are trying to do with the Selenium, is that we execute the test cases and test steps manually in every modified version. Test cases, steps we are automating. We are saving them. So tomorrow, whenever you receive the modified version, earlier we used to run the steps manually. Already there are scripts prepared to automate, execute these steps. I just click run button, Selenium will take care of execution and updating the results. Understand? Right. So here, to open a browser, WebDriver class and its method. To interact with the elements, web element. That send keys, that click, all are web element methods. Right. Hope understood this code also, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, done. Now, I want to type some employee ID here. I didn't remember what is the previous employee ID. So it generated some number, right? Anybody observed? No? Leave it. The employee name, Shrudeep, search. I'm showing you the properties of this element. You answer me which property we have to use. I'm not writing the code, just you answer me. We are trying to understand usage of the locators. Which property you can use to identify this element? We have ID property. Okay. I'm showing you the properties of the search button. We can use ID property as ID available. Finally, it is showing a table here. I'm showing you the properties of the table. I want to make Selenium to identify this table element. Check the Sudhi available in the table or not. Registered successfully or not. What is the property you can use? ID property we can use. Okay. I want to click on this About Us. About Us. I want to click on About Us. After launching this Premise Bank application, my requirement, I want to click on this About Us. I'm showing you the properties of this element. Which property you can use?
Source. SRC. SRC.
SRC.
SRC, perfect. Actually, it is anchor element only, link only. It's a link only, but In place of a plain text, programmer inserted an image here for appearance purpose. Check out this application, this sitemap. I'll show you the properties of the sitemap. It's a plain link, correct? It's a plain link, no image here. These are link text. It's a link text. This anchor element, link element has a text sitemap. What is the property we use to identify this element here? I want to click on sitemap. I want to click on sitemap. Tell me.
Link text.
Link text.
Use link text, sitemap. This link has a text, sitemap. I can use link text. Check out the properties. It's a link only, but no text. Rather than a plain text, appearance purpose programmer inserted an image here. The programmer inserted an image here. I'll tell you like this. Just for your understanding, I am creating a simple HTML code. Link. Links are created using anchor tag in HTML, web page designing. I'm giving a link text, a text for the link. Visit keywords. I save it in my desktop with the name demo.html. It's a HTML page. This one. Visit keyword. Is it clickable? I created anchor element only,
No,
but
sir.
not clickable because I was not given any hyperlink reference. If you provide a property H reference, hyperlink reference, redirected URL, then only that link becomes clickable. H reference equal to I given qtech.com. This is output of my code now. Now it's clickable. When I click it, it redirects to the given URL. Like this, generally programmers will create the links. Okay. I'm creating another link here. Break in the next line. One more anchor element I'm creating. Keywords LMS. H reference equal to so you know some application we must give HTTPS for security. Okay. This is output of my code. Redirect to that lund.qtech.com. What is the link text for the second one? What is the link text for the second one?
QHLMS.
It is that link text, QHLMS. I removed it. In place of a plain link, I want to insert an image. I go for image. Which image? SRC equal to, you have to give the location of the image. From where, which image you want to display here. This image I want to display there. That is source. SRC equal to which image you want to display there. The second link has a text now. The second link has a text now. In place of a text, I inserted a image.
Image.
This is what happened in the Primus Bank application. Rather than showing a plain text, appearance purpose, they created an image. Okay, actually QH logo, it's not actually the pixels. We have to ask my person to comprise it. The valid format of the image you have to print here. Anyhow, see, it is a clickable image. I'm clicking it, it redirects to the plan.qtech.com. In place of a plain text, programmer inserted an image here. This is what happened in the many applications. Nowadays, design will be like this. You see Amazon, you see images, clickable images. Right. Now, I'm showing you about us properties again. These are the properties of that about us. You please observe now. A programmer created an anchor element. In place of a plain text about us, they inserted a image here. Now, I want to click on about us. That is my requirement. See the properties and answer me. Do you have ID? Do you have name here?
No, sir.
No.
H-reference one property, about us.html. H-reference also one of the property. SRC also one of the property. Width one property. Height one property. Will you find a person based on the height and weight? No. Leave
No,
all
sir.
this. There are two options here for me. Either SRC or H-reference. Okay. Do we have by SRC as a locator in Selenium? Driver.find element by. Do we have by SRC as a locator?
No.
Do we have by H-reference as a locator?
No.
Totally how many
No.
locators are available? 8.
8.
8 we don't have by SRC, we don't have by H-reference. Why not given? Why not given in Selenium? See, different elements will have different properties. If the Selenium people want to provide all possible properties as locators, they have to provide hundreds of locators. By height, by width, by SRC, by H-reference, by title, by value, by placeholder, by area height. You're getting what I'm saying?
Yes,
If
sir.
really they
Yes,
want to consider all properties they want to provide as predefined locators, they have to give hundreds of locators. What Selenium development people did while developing the Selenium software, what are the mostly used properties for finding the element? ID, name, sometimes class name, sometimes tag name. If it is a link, either link text or partial link text. These are the most used properties given. If really the user want to use some other properties to identify the element, they have given one option to you. What is that? XPath. Any property of the element you can configure in XPath. SRC I can use, H-reference I can use, value I can use, title I can use, placeholder I can use, height I use, weight I can use, any property you can use, including ID and name. Including ID and they given only one syntax. Whatever the property you want to use, follow the syntax. They provided mostly used properties as predefined locator. and allowing the Selenium user, really you want to use some other properties to make Selenium to find out the element, no worries. We are giving only one option, that is export. Any property of the element we can configure in export to make Selenium to find out the element. So let us see how to make use of this export. Then only we can make Selenium to identify this about us, maybe using SRC property or using H reference property. Make a note, export. Export.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I have one question. If
Yes.
the element has a ID, name, and whatever the element locator is given, still we can use XPath, or if nothing is there, then we can use only XPath.
I already said, if the element do not have a ID or name, then only we look into other properties. Any other property we can use in export. A statement is clear now?
Yes, sir.
If there is really an ID, if there is a name, why unnecessarily go for other properties? If there is no ID, there is no name, then only we look into other properties. To configure or to use any other property of element, they have given one option to you, that is export. See, this is your web page. Let's say we have some element here. This element will have different properties. Maybe ID, name, title, value, H reference. There are many other properties. Any property of the element we can use in export. First of all, what is this export? Export stands for XML path. XML path used to locate the elements in a HTML page or in a XML page together in a markup language web pages. I told you already, any technology used to build a application, browser converting the technology page into HTML page. To locate the elements in a HTML page, export is given. Take some little introduction first. What is export? Export stands for XML path. Export stands for XML path used to locate elements in a HTML page. In a HTML page, that is web page. In a HTML page, that is web page. Right. When to go for export? If element do not have ID or name, then only generally we choose export. Make a note. If a element do not have ID or name, do not have ID or name, do not have ID or name, then we go with export. Then we go with export. If element do not have ID or name, then only we choose export. Okay.
Sir, excuse me.
First, I'll finish up this topic. Okay. Then I'll clarify. If element do not have ID or name, then only we go for export. Okay. See, we can use any property of the element in export. We can also use multiple properties in export. We can also use conditions starting with contains. Previously, you have observed in the Facebook application ID property. Starting value always constant. Remaining value dynamically changing. There is a function called starts with in export. somewhere some value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing, we can use another XPath function called contains. If no property is helping Selenium to find out the element, alternatively, we can also use location of the element, the position of the element in the page, no properties. There are multiple options available in the path. Make a note of it. We can use any property or multiple properties also location of the element in XPath, to identify elements. We can use any property. We can also use multiple properties. We can also use location. in XPath to identify the elements. Finally, if the element don't have an ID or name, then only we go for XPath. Let's see one by one. First, you answer me. Using properties to identify the element is suggested, location suggested.
Properties, sir.
Properties.
Properties. What is the meaning of location? His location, row number 2, seat number 1. Every day same location? Location may change. Location meaning asking Selenium, identify the first button available in the division 2. Identify the second text box available in the division 4. Identify the text box in the left side. Identify the text box in the right side. That is called location. In the next version, location may change. Your Selenium will malfunction. Because you've given the location, not properties. Identify the second text box. Previously, second text box is password. Next version, second text box is something else. Your Selenium will enter the password in new text box, not in the password field. Because you've given the location of the element in the code. Location not at all suggested. When to go for location? No properties available. None of the properties helping you to find out the element. The least and last option we have to go for location. Always it is better to go with the properties for finding the element. First learn how to use the properties in identifying the element. Note on the topic. Using any property in XPath, using any property in XPath to identify elements. Using any property in XPath to identify element. They given only one syntax to you. Using any property to identify element in XPath. The syntax will be like this. 2 forward slashes. Actually, in the location we use single forward slash. If I are giving the absolute location, we use single forward slash. If I am using double forward slash, Selenium understand that it is not location, it is properties. 2 forward slashes, star. Star meaning? Generally star meaning in programming, regular expressions, any, all. Any element in the page. Any element in the page. So in fact, this is also a valid XPath expression. What is it? If my code is driver dot find elements by the XPath, only this is my XPath expression. What happened?
First element will be
No. Find elements, I said. If really find element is first element.
It
Our property, sir.
will find all elements.
Check out this. See this. Amazon.com driver dot find elements by the XPath. I'm giving the XPath expression. Just to forward slash star. It is also a valid syntax. Star meaning here, all of the elements present in the current page. What is the current page? Amazon. Find elements, returns a list of web elements. All web elements present in the Amazon.com page, I am loading into some Java list. Here my Java list name is list. L in uppercase. It is a variable name. Something like this. String is a data type. This string is a... Any confusion? Any confusion here? This is a variable name.
Yes.
This is a data type. Here my variable name also is string, but SI given in the lower case. Got it?
Yes.
Okay, here what is my list name here? List. My array list name is list. Okay. E list, element list. Why confusion? It's a variable name only. Okay. E list, element list. Done. E list dot size will return number of elements available in the array list. What you are storing in array list? All of the elements present in the page. All HTML elements available in the page we are reading and storing into Java list. How many are there? 2,387 elements available in this Amazon.com page. Anchor elements, input element, paragraph element, everything together. What is the number? 2,387. We'll discuss about this, try XPath and all tomorrow. Same regular, XPath expression I have given here. Execute it. It's highlighting the element or elements matching the given XPath expression. How many are there? Maybe dynamically it is changing. Previously, how many? Okay. No, application dynamically changing. Okay, do it. Dynamically elements are loading. You see, it's a dynamically loading, right? Where the number of elements are changing. I think in Facebook application, nothing is dynamically loading. All of the elements present in the page. All elements present in this page. 254 it is saying. Previous one is Firefox browser. I have not installed it. Okay, I'll go with Firefox. Two forward slashes star. 254 it is saying now. Run the code. Here also I think 1 or 2 dynamically loading. 254. Finally, what I'm trying to highlight here, this is also one of the valid XPath expression. Find all of the elements in the page. Then you can give a filter condition inside the square brackets. Inside the square brackets, another filter. In all of the elements in the page, at the rate symbol, property name equal to a property value. Any element matching the given properties. Any element matching the given properties. See here. primusbank.qatech.com. I want to click on this About Us. I'm spying the properties of this element, About Us. They say SRC property available. I'll take it. As per the syntax, you tell me how to use it. Two forward slashes, star meaning any element present in the page matching the given properties. I'll write here first. Two forward slashes, star inside the square brackets. Any element in the current page matching the given property. The syntax is @ property name. What is the property name?
SRC is
Equal to property value. Property value must be enclosed in the single quotes. The property value I copied here. This one. Just for your understanding, tomorrow we'll discuss about what is the use of these tools, try XPath and all. If I create any XPath expression, before I use it in my code, I can confirm, then I can use it. What is the count? This XPath expression matching one element in the page. That element will be highlighted. So 100% I can use this XPath expression to identify the About Us. I can use it now in my code. If I directly use in my code without validating, without checking, if identified, okay. Or sometimes if there is one more element matching the same XPath expression, first one will be recognized. If no element is matching, it will throw an exception. So generally, once you create a XPath expression, better you confirm than use in the code. To confirm, try XPath, CrowPath, some add-ons are available for the browsers. Now here, my code is divide out, find the element by the XPath, that XPath expression. After finding the element, what you want to do? Click. We'll run this code. It clicked on About Us. This time we made Selenium to find the element based on the SRC property. Okay? Now I want to click on this, say personal banking. I want to click on personal banking. But after clicking on this About Us, it takes some little amount of time to load the next page, right? It's taking some time, right, to load the next page. Better, we'll go for thread dot sleep. Maybe I ask Selenium to wait up to 2 seconds or say 3 seconds if it is taking some time, or 5 seconds. Okay. Then I want to click on personal banking. I am spying the properties of this element. It's an anchor element, correct? There is hrefs property, personal-banking.html. I want to use hrefs property this time to click the personal banking. Okay? Tell me the code. Tell me the code. Divide all. Find the element. I don't have by hrefs directly as a locator. By export, here I can use hrefs property to recognize element. Tell me the syntax. Two forward slashes.
Classes at
Yes.
Instead of star, I give an anchor. In place of star, I have given anchor. I am giving the syntax here. How to use any property of the element in the export, or two forward slashes. In place of star, we can also give tag name. You can easily understand why I am giving a tag name here. Tell me. Star meaning any element in the page.
To find all the elements.
Element in the page. Listen. This is my web page. Here I have one element, element 1. Here I have one element, element 2. It's a input element. It's an input element. So it is a button element. Button also one tag name. Input also one tag name. Let's say its ID property is X. Its ID property also X. Also X. Say for example, ID property, name property, any other property. If my code is driver.find element, my requirement, I want to make Selenium to identify this element. If my code is driver.find element by the ID X, what happened? First one will be recognized. No, I want to go for second. I'm using export. In export, I give the tag name. What is the tag name? Button. So I'm clearly instructing Selenium, perform the sub condition only on the button element. Leave all the remaining elements. Totally, there are about 100 elements in a page. In 100 elements, there are 4 anchor elements, links. 96 different elements available. If I say 2 forward slashes star, what happened? From the beginning of the web page, any element matching the given properties can be recognized. In place of star, if I give a tag name, say for example, anchor, what happened? Selenium first filter the anchor elements. How many are there? 4. In these 4, the element matching the given properties will be returned. Remaining 96 element, first of all, no such operation performed. Because you clearly instructed the Selenium, I want to identify only anchor element, not remaining elements. Understand the point here? If you know what type of element you are looking for, anchor, image, input, button, I suggest always go with the tag name. Not only ease of finding, it will increase the performance also. 100 students available in the class. I got a ID card number. One student lost the ID card number in the front office. It's very clear it is a female student ID card. Is it ID card belongs to you? Is it ID card belongs to you? Waste of time, correct? Out of 100 students, which category of students I wanted? Only female. Remaining 94 I do not want it. Only I asked these 6 people, is this ID card belongs to you? Understand the point? Which is easy for identification. Filtering, correct? It will speed up the performance, execution speed. Test case execution speed also will be increased. Fastly finding the element, immediately perform the action. So, if you know what type of element you are searching for, better you go for tag name. Online team understood what I said?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
At the rate property name equal to a property, same syntax. In place of star, we are giving the tag name. Star meaning any element in the page from the beginning of the web page. Tag name meaning you are filtering, then searching on the filtered elements. That's it. Hope you understand the syntax. Now the second one I want to use in my next, in the same code, let me use the second one also. So I want to find the anchor element, only anchor element, not remaining element. Anchor element whose H-reference property is personal-banking.html. Okay. At the rate H-reference equal to then click it. Let me run this code. Here I use one property to identify the element. SRC property I use. After 5 seconds, clicking on personal banking. It clicked on personal banking now. Okay? Right. So this program explaining you how to use any property of the element in the XPath. To note down the syntax. Using any property of the element in XPath. Take the syntax. Two forward slashes. Either star or in place of star, we can also give the element tag name. Inside the square brackets, at the rate property name equal to property value. Any element will find, go for star. No, I want to identify only input element matching the properties. I want to identify only button matching the properties, image matching the property, then go for tag name, don't go for star. In place of star, if I give a tag name, extra filter condition. Perform search only on this particular category of element, not remaining. Skip the remaining. If I know what type of element I am looking for, go for the tag name. Any element from the beginning of the page will find, go for star. So based on the test case design, you have to decide. First we have to analyze. Then we have to build the code. By seeing the properties, we can decide. Anyhow, after writing the program, at least 1 or 2 times we have to run the program, right? Even though I prepare a program, somewhere I do mistakes. I guess maybe this property is enough, I use it. Unfortunately, there is other element has same property. Your Selenium will perform a wrong action. After developing manual test cases, there will be a review process, right? You submit for review, right? After developing automation programs also, at least you need to run your code for 1 or 2 times. Yes, everything is fine, then we baseline. Otherwise, we modify. Okay? Right. So I stop here today.
Sir,
The code what I have implemented, I'll upload into our LMS. And XPath is not done. Tomorrow, complete session is about XPath only. Minimum 3 to 4 questions are guaranteed only in XPath. What is XPath? When to go for XPath? How to use any property in XPath? How to use multiple properties in XPath? How to handle the element whose property values are dynamically changing? What is absolute XPath? What is partial XPath? Frequently asked interview questions relevant to Selenium. XPath is one of the critical area to crack or to answer the interview questions. Tomorrow completely we focus on XPath only. Okay? Right. What is your question?
Sir, will we have to follow this process of right clicking on inspect and getting the properties and developing the script in while working on Selenium in future after getting the job? Is this is the process?
Why you get this question? No, without seeing the properties, how you able to build the code first? Yes, this is the process.
Okay.
Yes, this is the process. If I want to automate a test case, enter username, enter password, click submit button, without knowing the username properties, how you build a program? By seeing the username, I cannot get the properties of the element, correct? We have to inspect the properties. Which property is helpful to find out the element, that we have to decide. Then we have to build the code. After building the code, no guarantee the code is 100% right. 1 or 2 times we have to run the code. Yes, it is correct. Baseline, keep it side. Second test case, third test case, fourth test case. Finally, we group all test cases into one suite. Make the suite ready, framework. Whenever a modified version given, you run the suite, you start executing all test cases one after another. Produce the results, HTML reports, Excel reports. These many test cases are executed, these many pass, these many fail. Pass in green color, fail in red color. All we have to build. We have to build. For that reason, Selenium is a little coding work. For that reason only, Selenium pay will be high. Got it? I do not know coding, but I wanted 8 lakh salary, will not work out. Understand? We are working for IT industry. IT industry need coding. Right. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, sir.